A graduation is nice, yes, but a baby shower is life. Ilara. It's a moment of actual, meaningful change. My mother, Vivian, delivered the verdict with crisp finality through the phone, the sound of her expensive cocktail shaking serving as the closing punctuation mark. I stood in the middle of my small, messy dorm room at MIT, cap and gown hanging on the door, 1 hour before my commencement ceremony was due to begin. The hook was delivered, the ultimate trivialization of my achievement. My name is Ilara Vance, and I was 22 years old that day, graduating first in my class with a triple major in computer science, data engineering, and finance. For me, that day represented 6 years of relentless, solitary academic effort and the culmination of a lifelong dream. For my family, it represented an inconvenient scheduling conflict. The meaningful change my mother referred to was the baby shower of my cousin, Serena. Serena, 24, was the undisputed golden child of the extended family, not because of professional ambition, but because she had chosen the family's preferred path: early marriage, a socially acceptable husband, a mid-level manager at a local bank, and now the imminent arrival of a grandson for the Harrington lineage. Serena's milestones, however commonplace, always eclipsed mine. My accomplishments, however extraordinary, were always dismissed as just books. The background conflict was a deep, systemic bias against intellectual achievement and professional independence in favor of conventional domesticity. My parents, successful but rigidly traditional in their mindset, constantly compared me to Serena. When I chose MIT over the local state college, they worried I was becoming too ambitious and too much of a risk. Serena, meanwhile, was celebrated for dropping out of community college to plan her wedding. My older brother Leo, 28, who had a perfectly average career in sales, was already at the baby shower. His text to me that morning was succinct. "Sorry, sis. Families got to show up for the big events. Congrats on the diploma, though. Go celebrate." The current event trigger was catastrophic. The schedules clashed. Serena's elaborate, prepaid baby shower was held in a lavish venue 3 states away, requiring a full weekend commitment. My graduation, scheduled months in advance, fell on the same Saturday. When I asked pleadingly if they couldn't simply attend my ceremony and drive the next day, my mother had sighed dramatically. "Don't be ridiculous, Ilara. Serena is hormonal. She needs our support. A graduation is just an hour of sitting. We can watch the replay later. This is about family cohesion." So they skipped it. All of them. My parents, my brother, my aunts, and my uncles. Every single one of them prioritized a pastel-themed baby shower over the singular academic achievement of their youngest daughter. I sat alone in my dorm room, listening to the muffled sounds of celebratory chaos from the families of my classmates. I buttoned my gown, fixed my hood, and walked out the door, feeling an acute, burning sense of abandonment. The ceremony itself was a blur. I gave the commencement speech, which was met with thunderous applause, and accepted my honors with a mechanical smile. Afterward, while everyone else rushed out to embrace their cheering families, I walked back to my room, silent and alone, the massive parking lot already emptying around me. I pulled out my phone and found a photo my mother had posted on the family group chat. A beaming Serena, surrounded by my entire family, holding a diaper cake. My mother's caption read, "Celebrating the milestones that truly matter. Couldn't be prouder of our beautiful girl and her little blessing." That image, shared publicly for all my friends and the extended family to see, was the humiliation scene, the maximum emotional low point. The message was clear. My intellectual success was worthless next to conventional domesticity. I didn't cry. Instead, a cold, crystalline resolve settled over me. I looked at the photo, then at my diploma. I made a promise to myself. You will never be in a position to dismiss my worth again. I will make sure the next time our paths cross professionally, you will be begging for the significance of my title. This was the day I stopped seeking their approval and started building an empire. 5 years later, the proof of worth was undeniable, though entirely secret from the Harringtons. After graduation, I didn't join a traditional firm. I leveraged my degrees, my commencement speech's viral fame in the tech world, and a small seed investment from a former professor to launch Cognito Systems. We weren't a typical startup. We specialized in creating highly adaptive, AI-driven corporate infrastructure, the kind of proprietary technology that automates, streamlines, and often replaces entire middle management structures in legacy industries. Our clients were massive multinational corporations looking to shed antiquated overhead. I lived modestly, pouring every dollar back into the business, maintaining the facade of being a struggling, precarious freelancer in my parents' eyes. They rarely asked about my work, content to assume I was still fiddling with code in my pajamas. My mother's calls were predictable. Updates on Serena's life, now a mother of two, veiled critiques of my single status, and complaints about my failure to attend Serena's children's first birthday parties. Leo occasionally called, less judgmental but equally oblivious. The financial reality. Cognito Systems was now valued at over $800 million. I was, personally, exceptionally wealthy and professionally one of the most feared and respected figures in my niche. Our AI solutions had decimated middle management layers across the financial and manufacturing sectors. The current event trigger for the final confrontation came via a casual text from Leo. Leo. Hey, Serena is actually applying for a job at that big financial services firm, Omnicorp, downtown. She's really stressed. Send her some good vibes, will ya? I froze. Omnicorp was one of the largest financial services firms in the country, and they had just, 6 months ago, signed a massive 9-figure contract with Cognito Systems. Our mandate: implement the new Orion AI, which was specifically designed to restructure and optimize their legacy human resources and operational departments. In short, Serena was applying for a job at a company that was currently my largest client, and her entire department was about to be profoundly affected by the technology that I had created and controlled. I immediately accessed the executive dashboard of Omnicorp's HR system, a service I had full executive access to. I typed in Serena Harrington. Her profile popped up. She was applying for a senior administrative coordinator role, a mid-level position that involved data and personnel management, a position that was flagged deep within the system for immediate elimination upon the full deployment of Orion in the next 6 weeks. The moment had arrived. The universe had delivered the opportunity for complete, devastating poetic justice. The first step of the turning of tables began 2 days later when I received a surprisingly formal, official-looking email sent to my personal address. Subject: Job application request. Reference for Serena Harrington. The sender was the head of Omnicorp's HR talent acquisition team. Serena, desperate for any advantage in a competitive market, had listed me, the distant, successful cousin, as a professional reference. She had obviously not consulted me first, simply hoping my MIT credentials would look good on her form. I replied instantly, not as Alara Vance, the messy former student, but as E. Vance, CEO of Cognito Systems, Omnicorp's executive partner. The HR head, realizing they were emailing a 9-figure CEO, replied within 2 minutes, utterly panicked and apologetic for the intrusion. I calmly reassured him. I have reviewed Ms. Harrington's application. She is in fact my cousin. I will be handling the reference process personally. Please schedule her final interview for next Tuesday and ensure I am listed as the sole definitive interviewer and hiring authority for this role. I had just positioned myself as the gatekeeper to her future. Next, I orchestrated the humiliation scene that would finally establish my power beyond doubt in front of my family. I knew Serena would be celebrating her final interview with my parents that weekend. I called my mother. Mom, I heard Serena is interviewing at Omnicorp. That's a big deal. I want to come over this weekend to give her some pointers. My mother was delighted, misinterpreting my intentions entirely. Oh, darling, yes. She needs your help. Her father and I worry she's a little underqualified, but your MIT name on her resume is a godsend. Come Saturday, we'll have a little pre-interview lunch for her. Saturday arrived. I drove to my parents' meticulously maintained house, the house I could now buy 10 times over, dressed as usual, simply. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation and self-congratulation, all directed at Serena. My mother, father, Leo, and Serena were gathered in the living room, analyzing Serena's outfit for the interview. She looks executive, doesn't she? My mother beamed at me. All thanks to you, Alara, for letting her use your reference. Now, darling, give her some pointers. Tell her what to say to the big shots. The family conflict was immediately reignited. My father chimed in. She doesn't need pointers on appearance, Alara. Serena knows how to carry herself. Unlike you, she understands that in the corporate world, You dress for success, not for the server room. Serena gave me a condescending smile. Thanks for the help, Alara. I'm just glad I finally have a chance to use my management experience in a place with real stability. You know how volatile the startup world can be. This was the final collective humiliation, the maximum emotional low point. They were using my success to elevate Serena's chance at a job that wouldn't exist soon, while simultaneously dismissing my career as volatile. I forced a smile, looking around the room at the people who had abandoned me 5 years ago. I've thought a lot about the interview, Serena, and I think the best thing you can do is demonstrate your true value. I reached into my bag and pulled out 2 items. First, a copy of the official MIT commencement program from 5 years ago, its cover slightly worn from handling. Second, a massive gleaming glass award, a recent international prize Cognito Systems had won for disruptive corporate innovation. Serena, Mom, Dad, Leo, I began, my voice clear and authoritative, silencing the room. 5 years ago, you all skipped my graduation, the largest, most definitive achievement of my life, to attend a baby shower. You deemed this piece of paper, I tapped the commencement program, meaningless compared to domestic convention. You valued Serena's life choices, however common, over my professional ambition, however extraordinary. My mother tried to interrupt. Now, Alara, that was just a scheduling conflict. Don't be dramatic. It was a choice, Mom. And that choice had consequences, I corrected, looking directly at Serena. Serena, you are applying for a job at Omnicorp. You listed me as a professional reference. What you don't know is that Omnicorp is currently my largest client. This award, I held up the glass prize, is for the AI I created, the Orion system, which Omnicorp is currently deploying to automate and streamline its entire administrative structure. The room was silent. Serena's face, minutes ago radiating confidence, was now pale. Your interview, scheduled for next Tuesday, is not with the HR team, I continued, delivering the revelation. It is with me. I am the sole hiring authority for your role, not because I work at Omnicorp, but because I am the CEO of Cognito Systems, and Omnicorp's 9-figure contract gives me executive oversight over their entire personnel restructuring. My father gasped, clutching his chest. Leo stared, his casual demeanor replaced by dawning horror. Serena began to tremble. And here is the ultimate twist, Serena, I concluded, placing the MIT commencement program next to the massive glass award. The role you are applying for, Senior Administrative Coordinator, is one of the positions that the Orion AI has been specifically designed to render redundant within the next 6 weeks. I know this because my algorithm predicted the full elimination of that department, with 99.8% accuracy. The turning of tables was complete. They had mocked my graduation. Now I was the absolute definitive gatekeeper to her professional future and stability. My mother recovered first, her face twisting into a hideous mask of panic and sudden, desperate ambition. Alara, darling, you're a CEO, an $800 million company. This is incredible. We knew you had it in you. You must let Serena have the job. Your family. You control the system. Control the system, I repeated, a cold smile touching my lips. Yes, Mom, I do. And that's the problem. You only value the person who holds the power, not the person who holds the truth. The rest of the family gathering was a scene of utter emotional wreckage. My father, realizing the professional and financial magnitude of my success, was speechless, running back and forth between the Omnicorp news site on his tablet and my face, trying to reconcile the Zoom girl with the ruthless, 9-figure CEO. Leo was simply stunned, apologizing profusely under his breath, repeating, I didn't know. I just didn't know. Serena fled the house, dissolving into tears, her entire planned future, the stability, the reliable job, collapsing under the weight of an algorithm I had personally written. The cruel irony was suffocating. The very system she sought for security was about to be automated by the cousin whose academic life she had deemed worthless. My mother, however, was focused on one thing: reclamation. She tried every tactic to regain control of the narrative. Tactic 1, the apology. Alara, I am so sorry about the graduation. It was a terrible mistake. We love you. We should have been there, but we can celebrate now. We can host a massive congratulatory party. The moment for celebration was 5 years ago, Mom, I said. And the cost of your love is too high. You only offer it when it benefits your social standing. Tactic 2. The demand for nepotism. You must give Serena the job or create a new one for her. Omnicorp is your client. You have the power. You can't let your cousin, a mother, be made redundant. The Orion system is designed for efficiency, Mom, not charity, I stated. And the one thing I learned from that graduation day is that I owe this family nothing. The system will operate flawlessly, regardless of who it affects. Tactic 3. The financial ask. Your father's investments have taken a hit. Elara, with your new company valuation, you could easily solve his liquidity problems. We are your parents. This is what family does. Family does not mock, dismiss, and abandon its children, I replied, the final severance complete. I will not be funding the lifestyle of the people who scorned my dreams. My capital is reserved for the people who believe in the value of disruptive innovation. I left the house that day, walking past the quiet admiration of the remaining relatives, my aunts and uncles now scrambling to understand the sudden, massive shift in my social and professional standing. I hadn't just proven my worth. I had purchased absolute, unassailable financial and professional independence. The long-term consequences for the Harrington family were a slow, agonizing slide into professional and social irrelevance, directly orchestrated by the very system they had dismissed. Serena's fate. Serena was predictably made redundant 6 weeks later. The Orion system, once fully deployed at Omnicorp, streamlined the entire administrative department, eliminating 50 mid-level positions, including hers. The news hit the family hard. Serena was forced to accept a high-stress, low-paying job at a local logistics firm, while her husband's career remained stagnant. The golden child's stability had evaporated, replaced by the relentless, automated efficiency of my own creation. The irony was the final cold punch. The life she had chosen was less secure than the one she had scorned. The family's professional humiliation, the story of the Omnicorp restructure, became an industry case study. Omnicorp, delighted by the multi-billion-dollar savings, publicly lauded Cognito Systems and its CEO, Elara Vance. My name was everywhere, on financial news channels, business magazines, and tech podcasts. My mother, who had to endure constant questions about her genius daughter, the tech mogul, could only offer awkward, contradictory answers, admitting that they had, in fact, missed my graduation. Their social embarrassment was permanent. They were now famous only for their short-sighted snobbery. Leo and the generational divide. My brother, Leo, finally understood the true weight of my resentment. He tried desperately to bridge the gap, only to be met with a cold, formal, professional boundary. I offered him a job, not in executive management, but in the most basic data entry department of Cognito Systems, a position I knew he would never accept due to his pride. The offer itself was a final professional consequence, a subtle reminder that he had dismissed my work when it was hard, and now he was too underqualified to join when it was successful. He refused the job, choosing to maintain his dignity over his financial stability. 4 years after the graduation, I was named one of Forbes' 30 most powerful CEOs in tech. My face, usually private, was plastered across every major news network. The reflection was complete. That same week, I received a carefully worded, professionally typeset letter from Serena. She wasn't begging for money or a job. She was asking for an introduction. Serena. Dear Elara, I know I have no right to ask this, but I've been running my own data management consultancy on the side for 2 years now, specializing in local businesses. I've heard that Cognito Systems is launching a new affiliate mentorship program for female-led tech businesses. I've seen your work, and I realize now that my old approach was fundamentally flawed. Could you, as CEO of Cognito Systems, grant me a 5-minute meeting to discuss joining the affiliate program? The letter was humble, professional, and entirely free of the toxic family entitlement. Serena had finally chosen worth over convention. I waited 3 days before replying. I didn't send a form letter. I sent a single handwritten note attached to a formal Cognito Systems package. My note was simple. Serena, I will grant you 1 hour. Not as family, but as the CEO of Cognito Systems. Be prepared to show me your value, not your need. My office, next Tuesday, 9 a.m. Inside the package, the legal documents detailed the rigorous application process for the affiliate program. Underneath those papers, I had tucked one final item, a brand new, impeccably framed copy of the MIT commencement program from 5 years prior. The day of the meeting arrived. Serena walked into my massive, glass-walled office, not in the pastel attire of the golden child, but in a tailored suit, clutching a well-organized business proposal. She had transformed. "Ilara, thank you for this opportunity," she said, her voice steady and professional. She laid out her proposal, detailing market gaps and data solutions with an unexpected clarity and rigor. After 50 minutes, I leaned back, nodding slowly. "Your analysis is sharp, Serena. Your business model is sound. I am impressed by your dedication to building this from the ground up." Serena let out a breath she seemed to have been holding for 5 years. "I learned the hard way that stability comes from competence, not convenience. You taught me that lesson, Ilara, even if I didn't realize it at the time. Then I will accept your business into the Cognito affiliate program," I stated. "You will receive full mentorship, investment capital, and priority access to our resources." Serena's eyes welled up, but she didn't cry. "Thank you, Ilara. I don't know how I can ever repay you." "You already have," I said, pointing to the framed commencement program I had deliberately placed on my desk facing her. "5 years ago, you taught me the cost of emotional validation. Now, you've shown me the value of earned professional respect. You have already repaid the debt." She looked at the framed program, then back at me, a realization dawning in her eyes. "You waited for me to prove my worth on your terms, didn't you? Not as family, but as an employer." "I waited for you to become worthy of the time I had to sacrifice," I corrected. "I waited until you became the kind of person who would have attended my graduation without question." Serena signed the affiliate agreement and left. The moral closure was final. I never attended a Harrington family gathering again. But I saw Serena often, not as a cousin to be scorned, but as a valued professional affiliate, building her own life, free from the shallow, conditional standards of the past. The system I created, the success they dismissed, had become the ultimate tool of justice, ensuring that the only way back into my world was through earned merit, not entitled family membership.